In this video, I'm going to talk about immigration in America. So, America, the melting pot is changing flavor. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States. Escaping crop failure, land and job shortages, rising taxes and famine, which the Irish potato famine, which lasted from 1845 to 1849, is a great example. Persecution and death, many came to the US because it was considered as the land of economic opportunity. Others came seeking personal freedom or relief from political and religious persecution. With the hope for a brighter future, nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 and 1900. During the 1870s and 1880s, the vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, Italy, and England. Immigrants entered the United States through several ports. Those from Europe generally came from the East Coast, while those from Asia generally entered through West Coast centers. More than 70% of all immigrants, however, entered through New York City, which came to be known as the Golden Door. In fact, when they got to America, they immediately caught a glimpse of the Statue of Liberty. Throughout the late 1800s, most immigrants arriving in New York entered at the Castle Garden Depot near the tip of Manhattan. In 1892, the federal government opened a new immigration processing center on Ellis Island in New York Harbor. After they got off the boat, they had to show their documents if they still had them, and they were questioned and examined. Those who could not pass with the exams would be detained or sent back home. Although immigrants often settled near ports of entry, a large number did find their way inland. Many states, especially those with sparse populations, actively sought to attract immigrants by offering jobs or land for farming. A great example would be the Oklahoma land rush, which is a race to claim a piece of land in an area of Northern Territory, known as the Cherokee Land Strip. If you managed to get one of those pieces of land, you would practically have 60 hectares of land. Many immigrants wanted to move the communities established by previous settlers from their homelands. Once settled, immigrants obviously looked for work. There were never enough jobs, and employers often took advantage of the immigrants. They crowded into run-down buildings, often called tenements, and immigrants usually lived and often worked in those houses in New York and other large cities. The buildings were airless, and the sunlight barely came in. The housings were small, and sometimes many lived in the same house. A quote in a letter sent back home said, "It's so damn so dirty, it's a wonder we survived." Social tensions were also part of the immigrant experience. Often stereotyped and discriminated against, many immigrants suffered verbal and physical abuse because they were different. While large-scale immigration created many social tensions, it also produced a new vitality in the cities and states in which the immigrants settled. Italian immigrants came to the United States from 1890 onward and became a part of what is known as New Immigration, which is the third and largest wave of immigration from Europe and consisted of Slavs, Jews, and Italians. This new immigration was a major change from the old immigration, which consisted of Germans, Irish, British, and Scandinavians and occurred throughout the 19th century. Between 1900 and 1950, 3 million Italians immigrated to America, which was the largest nationality of new immigrants. These immigrants, mostly artisans and peasants, represented all regions of Italy, but mainly came from the Mezzogiorno, southern Italy. Between 1876 and 1930, out of the 5 million immigrants who came to the United States, 4/5 were from the south, representing regions such as Calabria, Campania, Abruzzo, Molise, and Sicily. The majority, 2/3 of the immigrant population, were laborers. The laborers were mostly agricultural and did not have much experience in industry, such as mining and textiles. The laborers who did work in industries had come from textile factories in Piedmont, Tuscany, and mines in Umbria and Sicily. Poverty was the main reason for immigrating, but political hardship and the dream to return to Italy with enough money to buy land were pull factors as well. For 80% of Italians, agriculture was their livelihood. Many of their farming tools were inefficient due to their antiquity and lack of modern technology. Often the farmers lived in harsh conditions, living in one-room houses with no plumbing or privacy. In addition, many peasants were isolated due to a lack of roads in Italy. Landlords ruled the land and charged high rents, low pay, and provided very unsteady employment. Immigrants, though, are still arriving. In the last 50 years, many high-skilled people have arrived from all over the world, including the UK, looking for better jobs. Around 1.6 million people each year arrive in America. They come from all over the world, but over half of them come from Mexico, Central and South America. It is thought that over 30% of new immigrants are illegal. In 2007, about 66% of the population was white, non-Hispanic. The next largest group was the Hispanic, 44%, and Black, 13%. The smallest group was the Native Americans and Hawaiian, who made up for less than 1% of the population. And these are some statistics about South America and the immigration. And this is the wall that divides US and Mexico.